Sigurd's horse gallops across the Scottish Highlands. Blood still drips from the severed head bouncing against his saddle. His trophy, his proof of victory. He's grinning. He's untouchable. He just won. But with every stride of his horse, something is happening. The dead man's buck tooth, grotesquely large, jutting out even in death, scrapes against Sigurd's thigh. Back and forth, back and forth. It's just a scratch. Nothing serious, he thinks. Except that in 3 days, that scratch will turn red. In a week, his leg will swell and darken. And in 2 weeks, Sigurd the mighty, Earl of Orkney, one of the most feared Viking warlords in Scotland, will be dead, killed by the very head he's parading as a prize. This isn't how Sigurd imagined his death. Vikings are supposed to die in battle, sword in hand, enemy at their feet, earning their place in Valhalla. They're not supposed to die from a scratch. But here we are. Sigurd rules the Orkney Islands off the northern coast of Scotland. It's around 892 AD, and if you control Orkney, you control the trade routes, the raids, the power. Sigurd's not just some random Viking. He's the Viking everyone fears. And right now, he's riding home from the greatest victory of his career. He just killed his rival, Mael Bright, in single combat. Well, not exactly single combat, but we'll get to that. The point is, Mael Bright is dead. Sigurd is alive, and that head dangling from his saddle is proof. But Mael Bright isn't done fighting yet. 2 weeks earlier, Sigurd gets a message. His rival, Mael Brigte, a Scottish lord who controls territory on the mainland, wants to settle things. Their lands have been bleeding into each other for years. Raids, burned farms, stolen livestock, the usual. Mael Bright proposes a solution, arranged combat. 40 warriors each. Winner takes disputed territory. Loser, well, probably dies. Sigurd agrees. Why wouldn't he? He's got the better fighters, the better reputation. This should be easy, but Sigurd has no intention of fighting fair. On the day of battle, Mael Bright arrives at the agreed meeting place in Caithness with exactly 40 men. He's standing there, waiting, honorable. And then Sigurd's horses appear on the ridge. 40 horses, just like they agreed. Mael Bright nods. Good, a fair fight. But as the horses get closer, something's wrong. The silhouettes don't look right, because Sigurd didn't bring 40 men. He brought 80, 2 warriors per horse. One controlling the mount, one crouched behind, hidden until the last second. It's the medieval version of hiding a weapon behind your back and saying, "Just kidding," right before you stab someone. Mael Bright's face must have been something to see. Pure disbelief. Are you serious right now? But it's too late. Sigurd signals. His men dismount. Suddenly, it's 80 Vikings against 40 Scots, and the math is brutal. Mael Bright fights anyway. What else can he do? Run? Not an option. He's got his pride, his men watching. So he fights, and he dies. Sword through the chest, or maybe an axe to the neck. The sagas don't specify. But within minutes, Mael Bright, the buck-toothed, is lying dead in Scottish dirt, and Sigurd is standing over him, victorious. And then Sigurd makes the decision that kills him. Sigurd looks down at Mael Bright's corpse. The man's mouth is slightly open, and those famous buck teeth, massive, protruding, the kind people mock, are sticking out like tusks. Sigurd draws his sword. One clean swing, and Mael Brigte's head separates from his body. Sigurd holds it up. His men roar, "This is victory. This is glory. This is the proof everyone back home needs to see." Sigurd doesn't just win, he dominates. But holding up a severed head for 10 seconds isn't enough. Sigurd wants to parade this trophy all the way back to Orkney. He wants every village they pass, every farmer in the fields, to see what happens when you challenge him. So he grabs a leather strap and ties the head to his saddle. It dangles there, swaying with every movement of the horse. The eyes are still half open, the mouth slack, and those teeth jutting forward, sharp edges catching the light. Sigurd mounts his horse. His men fall in behind him. They're heading home. The ride is long, hours across rough Scottish terrain. The head bounces and swings with every step, and with every step, one of those protruding teeth scrapes against Sigurd's bare thigh. He doesn't notice, or if he does, it's just a minor annoyance, something to ignore. He's too busy feeling victorious, too busy imagining the welcome he'll get when he arrives home with this prize. The tooth scrapes, back and forth, and somewhere along that ride, the skin breaks. By the time they reach Orkney, something's wrong. Sigurd dismounts and feels a sharp sting in his leg. He looks down. There's a scratch on his thigh, red, angry, but small, probably from the saddle, or his armor. Nothing to worry about. He unties Maelbrigt's head and has it mounted on a spike outside his hall. Trophy displayed, mission accomplished. That night, Sigurd celebrates with his men. They drink, they boast, they retell the story of the battle, making it sound even more glorious than it was. And Sigurd's leg throbs. The next morning, the scratch is worse. The skin around it is swollen, hot to the touch. It hurts when he walks. Sigurd ignores it. Vikings don't complain about scratches, but by day 3, he can't ignore it anymore. The wound has turned dark purple. The swelling has spread halfway up his thigh. Every step is agony. He calls for help. Someone brings herbs, wraps the wound in cloth soaked in ale. It doesn't help. Day 4, fever sets in. Sigurd is shaking, drenched in sweat. His vision blurs. The pain is constant now, radiating up from his leg into his entire body. Day 5, the leg is black. The infection has spread into his bloodstream. His men can smell it. Rot, death, decay. They try bloodletting. Cut him open, let the bad blood drain out. It just makes him weaker. Day 6, Sigurd can't stand, can barely speak. His breath comes in short, desperate gasps. Day 7, Sigurd the Mighty, Earl of Orkney, conqueror of Maelbrigt, dies in his bed. Not from a sword wound, not from an arrow, not in glorious battle, from a scratch, from a dead man's tooth. Let's talk about what just happened. Sigurd cheated, brought double the men to an honorable fight, won through deception, and then in his arrogance, decided to parade his enemy's severed head as a trophy. But that head, specifically, the buck teeth everyone mocked Maelbrigt for, became a weapon. A biological weapon Sigurd tied to his own saddle. In 892 AD, there's no antibiotics, no antiseptics, no understanding of infection. Once bacteria enters your bloodstream, your body either fights it off or you die. Sigurd's body lost. The Norse sagas record this death with zero embellishment. The Orkneyinga Saga just states, Sigurd died from a wound caused by Maelbrigt's tooth. He was buried in a mound at Eysteinsson. That's it. No drama, no poetry. Just, he died because a corpse's tooth scratched him. Sigurd's death created chaos in Orkney. His lands were divided, his legacy fractured. But the story of how he died? That lived forever, because there's something darkly poetic about it. The man who won through cheating, killed by his own trophy, the mighty warrior felled by a dead man's revenge. Today, we'd call this septicemia, blood poisoning from bacterial infection. It's treatable with basic antibiotics. Sigurd would have been fine with a shot of penicillin and some bandages. But in the 9th century, a scratch from a corpse's protruding tooth was a death sentence. Here's the kicker. Human bites are statistically more dangerous than dog bites. Our mouths carry bacteria specifically evolved to break down food and tissue. When that bacteria gets into a wound, it thrives. Maelbrigt's buck teeth weren't just ugly, they were loaded weapons. And Sigurd tied that weapon directly to his leg and rode home. So here's your takeaway. If you're going to cheat in battle, parade your enemy's severed head around as a trophy and tie it directly to your body. Maybe check for protruding teeth first. Sigurd the Mighty won the battle, but Maelbrigt the buck-toothed won the war. Sometimes revenge doesn't come from the living. Sometimes it comes from a corpse, a tooth, and microscopic bacteria you can't even see. Such is life, or in Sigurd's case, such is death.